Is it possible for a relationship to end in an unimaginable tragedy just because of excessive obsession? What if the online world became a witness to a horrifying murder? On a night that was supposed to be a joyful moment, a relationship turned into a nightmare that ended in tragedy. Bianca Devins, a teenager known in the online world, found herself trapped in the dark side of a man's obsession. What happened when a horrifying photo spread across social media? Follow this story filled with tension and shocking twists. Before we continue, let me introduce myself. I'm Riyadi. Don't forget to subscribe because every week I'll be uploading 1, 2, or even 3 terrifying and bizarre true stories. Turn on notifications so you don't miss out, and share this video to help more people stay alert in any situation. Get cozy, grab a warm seat, and don't forget your coffee and favorite snacks. If you're ready, let's dive into this chilling true story for today's episode. Bianca Devins was a 17-year-old teenager from Utica, New York, known as a cheerful, creative girl who was very active in the online world. She had a deep interest in art and internet culture, often interacting on platforms like Instagram and Discord. Online, Bianca was known as an e-girl, a term often used for young women engaged in digital communities with an alternative style. Brandon Clark, a 21-year-old man, was someone close to Bianca. He appeared calm on the surface, but harbored a darker side. Brandon and Bianca met through social media and developed a close friendship. While many assumed they were a couple, Bianca's family stated that their relationship was merely platonic. However, Brandon seemed to have deeper feelings for Bianca and began showing obsessive tendencies toward her. On the night of July 13, 2019, Bianca and Brandon attended a concert together in New York City. This concert marked a turning point in their relationship. During the event, Bianca met another young man who was said to be a close friend. She appeared friendly with him, which made Brandon feel jealous and offended. Brandon started exhibiting strange and possessive behavior. Throughout the drive home, he grew increasingly emotional and withdrawn. He began to believe that Bianca had betrayed him, even though they were not officially in a romantic relationship. His jealousy and frustration, combined with his obsession, ultimately led to an unexpected and brutal act. On the way back from the concert, the atmosphere inside the car grew increasingly tense. Bianca, who was initially cheerful, began feeling uncomfortable with Brandon's attitude. They argued, and the situation escalated. Upon arriving in Utica, they stopped at a secluded spot near an empty road. That was when Brandon revealed his horrifying intentions. He pulled out a knife he had hidden earlier and brutally attacked Bianca. In a panic, Bianca tried to fight back, but she was not strong enough to save herself. Brandon mercilessly slit her throat, killing her instantly. What made the situation even more terrifying was what Brandon did next. He took photos of Bianca's lifeless body and uploaded them to social media, including Instagram and Discord. In his posts, he wrote chilling messages like, "I'm sorry, Bianca," and stated that he planned to end his own life. The police quickly traced the crime scene based on information provided by Bianca's friends on Discord. When they arrived at the location, they found Brandon injured. He had attempted to take his own life by slashing his throat, but he failed. Next to him lay Bianca's lifeless body, with gruesome wounds on her neck and bloodstains surrounding her. Brandon was still alive, but in critical condition. The police immediately arrested him and transported him to a hospital for medical treatment before placing him in custody for legal proceedings. Brandon Clark was ultimately charged with second-degree murder for the killing of Bianca Devins. In court, he pleaded guilty and was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. Bianca's family continued to honor her memory and advocated for public awareness about the dangers of gender-based violence and online threats. Luca Rocco Magnotta, born as Eric Clinton Kirk Newman on July 24, 1982, in Toronto, Canada, grew up in a troubled household. His father was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and his mother was overly protective and strict. Luca was often bullied in school due to his shy and introverted nature, which led him to seek attention and validation elsewhere. As he grew older, Luca tried multiple ways to achieve fame. He worked as a model, acted in adult films, and auditioned for reality TV shows, but none of his attempts brought him the recognition he craved. Luca became obsessed with becoming famous, creating numerous social media accounts to craft an image of a lavish lifestyle that was far from his real life. This deep desire for attention soon drove him to unimaginable lengths. Luca's obsession with attention led him to increasingly disturbing actions. In 2010, an anonymous video titled "One Boy, Two Kittens" surfaced online, showing someone brutally killing 2 kittens. The video sparked widespread outrage, especially among animal lovers who formed online groups to identify the perpetrator. Luca Magnotta became the prime suspect, though he consistently denied involvement. Yet, the thrill of attention from such a notorious act was fleeting for Luca. As the public's interest waned, he planned something far more sinister, a murder that would shock the world and cement his infamy. In May 2012, Luca Magnotta met Jun Lin, a 33-year-old international student from China studying in Montreal. Jun Lin was known for being kind, hardworking, and friendly. Unfortunately, his brief encounter with Luca would lead to his tragic end. On the night of May 24, 2012, Jun Lin visited Luca's apartment. Unknown to him, Luca had already prepared for what would be one of the most gruesome crimes ever recorded. Luca filmed the entire incident, later releasing the video titled "One Lunatic, One Ice Pick." The footage showed Luca murdering Jun Lin with an ice pick, followed by scenes of dismemberment and even cannibalism, an act so horrifying that it sent shockwaves across the internet. In the days that followed, parts of Jun Lin's body were mailed to various locations, including political party offices in Canada. His head was discovered in a Montreal park, while other body parts were sent to schools. The grotesque nature of the crime gripped the nation and the world. As the murder video circulated online, Montreal police swiftly identified Luca Magnotta as the primary suspect. However, Luca had already fled to Paris, France, just before authorities reached his apartment. This launched one of the largest international manhunts in modern criminal history. Interpol issued a red notice, urging countries worldwide to assist in Luca's capture. The investigation revealed that Luca was constantly on the move across European cities to evade arrest. Ironically, his self-obsession became his downfall. Unable to resist reading about himself, Luca frequently visited news websites in internet cafes. On June 4, 2012, Luca was finally apprehended in a Berlin internet cafe while browsing news articles about his own crimes. His arrest made global headlines, bringing an end to his brief yet intense period on the run. Luca Magnotta was extradited to Canada to face trial. During court proceedings, prosecutors presented damning evidence, including the murder video, CCTV footage, and testimonies proving that Luca meticulously planned the crime. Luca's defense claimed that he suffered from mental illness, but the jury rejected this argument. In 2014, Luca Magnotta was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for 25 years. The case remains one of Canada's most horrifying crimes, capturing worldwide attention due to its gruesomeness and its connection to the digital world. In January 1959, a group of 10 experienced hikers from the Ural Polytechnic Institute in Sverdlovsk, Soviet Union, set off on what was supposed to be a thrilling winter expedition. The group, led by Igor Dyatlov, was composed of students and graduates, all skilled in mountaineering and survival. Their goal was to reach Otorten Mountain, a challenging yet achievable destination in the northern Ural Mountains. Among the members were Zinaida Kolmogorova, a strong-willed and athletic woman, Rustam Slobodin, known for his resilience, and Yuri Yudin, who was forced to turn back early due to illness, making him the only survivor of the group. The rest continued their journey, unaware that they were heading toward one of the most infamous unsolved mysteries in history. The hikers had planned to complete their expedition in about 2 weeks. On February 1, 1959, they set up camp on the eastern slope of Kholat Syakhl, a name that eerily translates to Dead Mountain in the local Mansi language. It is believed that bad weather forced them to stop there instead of descending to a more sheltered area. The group recorded their journey through diaries and photographs, showing them in good spirits. However, something happened that night. Something so terrifying that it forced 9 experienced hikers to flee their tent in sub-zero temperatures, barefoot and barely dressed. Whatever they encountered was so horrifying that it made them abandon all logic and survival instincts, leading to one of the most perplexing and chilling tragedies in history. When rescuers finally reached the abandoned campsite weeks later, they found a horrifying scene. The tent was cut open from the inside, as if the hikers had desperately slashed their way out instead of using the entrance. Footprints in the snow showed that they fled toward the woods, wearing only socks or completely barefoot. Something unthinkable in such extreme cold. The first bodies were found at the edge of the forest, near the remains of a small fire. Yuri Doroshenko and Georgy Krivonishenko were found half-naked, their bodies showing signs of hypothermia. Nearby, 3 more bodies, Igor Dyatlov, Zinaida Kolmogorova, and Rustam Slobodin, were discovered in positions suggesting they had been trying to return to the tent. Slobodin's skull was fractured, but his injuries were not immediately fatal. 2 months later, the remaining 4 bodies were found buried under snow in a ravine. These corpses presented even more bizarre injuries. Ludmila Dubinina had her ribs crushed and her tongue missing, Semyon Zolotaryov had similar fractures, and Nikolai Thibault-Brignol had a massive skull injury. Strangely, no external wounds matched the severity of their internal trauma. Even more disturbingly, traces of radiation were found on some of their clothing. The Soviet authorities launched an investigation, but what they found only deepened the mystery. The cause of death for most of the hikers was listed as hypothermia, while others suffered from severe internal injuries. However, the medical examiner noted that the force required to cause such fractures was equivalent to a car crash. Yet no external wounds suggested an attack by a weapon or an animal. Adding to the confusion, some of the victims' clothing contained abnormal levels of radiation. This discovery led to speculation about secret military experiments or nuclear testing. Some theorized that the group had accidentally wandered into a classified military zone, witnessing something they shouldn't have, resulting in a brutal cover-up. Others pointed to natural explanations, such as an avalanche, but there was no clear evidence of one occurring that night. Another theory involved infrasound, low-frequency sound waves caused by strong winds, potentially inducing panic and hallucinations, forcing the group to flee irrationally. Yet, none of these theories fully explained all aspects of the case. In May 1959, Soviet investigators abruptly closed the case, ruling that an unknown compelling force had caused the hikers' deaths. The case files were sealed, and any discussion of the Dyatlov Pass incident was discouraged. For decades, the truth remained buried in speculation, conspiracy theories, and classified documents. However, in 2019, the Russian government reopened the case. The official conclusion, published in 2020, claimed that the most likely cause was a rare type of slab avalanche that forced the hikers to flee their tent in terror. Yet, many researchers and conspiracy theorists remain unconvinced, arguing that crucial details still do not align with an avalanche explanation. Even today, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the most terrifying and puzzling unsolved mysteries in history. Whether the truth was covered up or simply lost to time, the story continues to haunt those who dare to explore its many unanswered questions.